Hey Pop, um, I'm gonna play some Six Max, 50 cents and a dollar, and I'm hoping that it'll give you some good. Um, it'll be worthwhile to watch because now that you've been playing a bunch of No Limit, and see how it goes. King five off. I'm not gonna defend. I'm gonna defend two cards offsuit that are eight or higher. But that was a 4x raise, so I would actually tighten up a little bit. And against a non-standard size raise like $4, I would only call like two cards 10 and higher. Okay, min raise from the uh, hijack. Uh, this hand's not in my three betting range, so I'm not going to do it. Um, and it's not worth calling there. King queen offsuit. So I'm definitely going to open this if it's folded to me. And I can three bet it against anyone except for the low jack who just folded. So now this hand three bets. And so I make it 3.5 times his bet, which is 750 plus a buck 25, 875. 3.5x in position, 4.5x out of position. So 3.5 times his raise size, 4.5 times his raise size if I'm out of position, and um, if there's a caller in between, I add at least half of the bet on top of it. You could just add the whole bet, so you could just go 3.5 times the 3.5x in position plus 1x per caller. So if that guy had called, if the guy in between us had called 250, this guy here, then I would have added 250 to my 875. So I would have made it 11 and a quarter. Okay. It's critical to watch these guys and what they're doing, which I wasn't doing, so I'm going to try to see what's notable. Open limp the button. That's not a play that anyone should make. So this player who open limped here is potentially a fish. Check, check. That's full pot. Interesting to see. A lot of times people who are passive enough to open limp the button instead of raising, you are usually betting very straightforwardly. So I'd be surprised if they have anything less than an 8 here or a flush draw. And I'd be mildly surprised if they had actually less than a queen. Even though it's not that likely in general that someone just flop top pair. It's not that easy to do, you know. Another open limp. That's a good sign that we're in a good game. These two players automatically. Red is like the super fish, and yellow is some kind of fish, but I'm not quite sure yet what they are. So they've both open limped. That's already enough for me to know that they're weak players. And I would say you don't find that too often. I don't see it too often, even in 50 cents and a dollar. Usually people know to raise or fold first ones in, or most of the players at the table. Okay, half pot on a coordinated flop. This kind of flop, 7-5-3 low cards connected, that favors the people who are in the blinds, the big blind for sure, because he got his hand for free, so he has any two cards. So you can easily have 6-4 or 3-5, where someone who put money in voluntarily, like this guy, even though he only limped, shouldn't ever really have that. Now this guy, after calling, and then the middle card pairing, he check raised. So he's representing at least trip fives. Interesting card, because some trip fives are concerned, but I would still bet them. When this guy limps in, you kind of put him on medium hands, medium pairs, pocket eights maybe, a seven. He could have pocket sixes, could have pocket threes and flop to set or whatever. He's thinking hard. We don't know if he's thinking about raising or just thinking about calling or folding. So king six off. This is a spot where I would defend against like a button open, but I don't want to play it multi-way. So if somebody raises now, I'll just fold. But this guy limped in again. It's good. He's a player I want to play against. There's no reason to build the pot. My hand's not especially good. That's great. I flopped a pair. I could bet it, but betting it is often okay. So betting it is often hands that I want to bet three streets or need protection. And this hand doesn't really need any protection because not many overcards can come. And so it's just a perfect hand to just check call and see what this guy's limping in with, and then betting all these high cards. Like if he had king, queen, king, jack, ace, king, he should be, I'm going to call again. He bets about 3/4 pot. If he bets again, it's like pretty scary, but I'm still going to call. He's shown himself to be a fish, and like if he has 9-10 here or something, or if he has like, basically, I'm supposed to pay a fair amount, so this doesn't look like much of a bluff when he bets half pot on the river after betting the other two streets. It looks like he has a hand he wants me to call against, but I am definitely curious enough with top pair to see what kind of hand he's limping in with over there. Yeah, okay, so two medium cards. He should have either folded or raised that hand pre-flop. Folded it actually from the low jack, which is very standard. And this guy, he played the hand like very predictably, which is good to note because sometimes you see, like I know he played his hand bad in some way, but it would have been really interesting to see him just show up with like 10 deuce or something. So now this player raised under the gun where before she limped the button. So let's see how good of a hand she needs to raise under the gun. I would say like probably a very good hand. We don't know because she's not showing. But I would give her, when she has a limping range, means she doesn't only limp when she comes into the pot. That means generally that her limping hands go into are like her medium and weak hands might get limped and her stronger hands get raised. That's usually how people who do that do it. So I'd be careful and be very careful about playing like dominated hands like the king 7 offsuit or things that I might otherwise defend. When she raises. So this is a board that is really good for, again, these low connected boards are good for the blinds. And in fact, you can just lead out instead of checking to the raiser with lots and lots of hands on the flop, including bluffs like Jack 10 could lead out as a bluff because it really is tough if you have ace queen or something and somebody bets out to call them. Queen 4 suited, that's not good enough to open from the cutoff. It's very close. I need 2 cards 7 or higher that are suited. And this doesn't quite make the cut. And okay, so a raise on a bunch of cold calls. This is like a good game. There's big players. It's probably fairly typical for like evening, night. I'm playing on Monday night at about 10 p.m., something like that. Yeah, it's 10. So Yeah, I'm not playing the exact same. My pre-flop strategy is not exactly the same as your charts. It'll be like a little looser from all of these positions, and I kind of go into why that is um, in this other video I'm going to send you about mixed actions. So this big multi-way pot got checked to the button, who shouldn't have many strong aces because he should have been re-raising them pre-flop, but we know he's very passive pre-flop. Now the raiser check raises, which he should do a lot, and so he's representing basically ace queen or better, or his bluffs here would be something like king queen or king 10 or queen jack. I'm sorry, queen 10, like a gut shot. Those would be the hands he would bluff with, and then he should have, yeah, aces up makes sense. And this player, she got trapped. She shouldn't have called the check raise with just a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw, but once she turned the flush draw, she had too many outs to fold for the price she was getting, I'm pretty sure. On the river, let's see, there's 66 in the pot, and so she's getting 3-1, and she's getting 3-1 on the turn when he goes all in, and she has 3 queens and 9 spades that will probably give her winners. She doesn't know if like some of the spades that pair the board would beat her or whatever. As it turned out, she was super dead because the guy had the same. He had ace deuce of spades, so he had aces up with the. So she only had the 3 clean outs. But if she had 12 outs like she usually has in that spot where he just has ace king or something, then it's 34-12 odds. 34 losing cards, 12 winning cards. And so that's not quite 3-1. So getting 3-1 is plenty. Is more than enough odds to call it off there. So bad call on the flop, good call on the turn. And she actually had a really good hand to potentially just raise the buttons bet to check raise with her gut shot and backdoor flush draw. That would have been the ideal play, in fact. And maybe I'll go through that at the end of the video or something, just how I would have probably played the hand if I had seen the flop with king 10 suited, which is totally possible that I would have just called there. 4-3 offsuit's just a little too small. Again, she has the stronger part of her range when she raises, if she's somebody who limps sometimes. So I would want to tighten up slightly from how I would normally play. However, if I never wanted to make an adjustment and just play the charts that I memorized, that would be totally fine. And that's pretty much what I recommend with you. Sorry to see her go. But we still got this guy on the left who's bad. Not that anybody else seems particularly good, although this Yo Mama guy, he played his hand well. I will say, okay, so this hand should 3-bet like 1/4 of the time against the buttons open. And the way I would do that is if my card on the right, if that jack is a diamond, then and I have a hand like king jack, queen 10, king 10 off, those hands, then I will re-raise. That's 1/4 of the time one of those, that card is going to be a diamond. Here I'm going to re-raise no matter what, anybody does. Queens is a pure 3-bet, not a mixed action, which means I do it all the time. So 3.5x is 875, right? And with this hand, I will call a 4-bet or go all in. I'm in position, so with queens and jacks, if you're not folding against a 4-bet, you often want to go all in because definitely if you're out of position, you want to. If you're in position, so this is a dream flop for me. He can have overpairs that don't beat me. I'm going to bet 1/4 pot. I have, but I'm going to bet like every street here. I have the spade backup, which blocks him from having some of his spade draws that he might have, like queen jack of spades, queen 10 of spades, hands like that. But really I have great, those cards with a low pair on the board are just great when you have an overpair. Okay, that's probably obvious to you that that's true. You don't worry at all about somebody having trips. If they have trips, if he somehow has like ace-5 suited or whatever, he's going to get all my chips on that board. And my job is to maximize. Okay, so now I have to either check or either bet or check raise. And I'm going to check because this guy had a tendency to bet last time. That's like the worst thing that can happen, this ace. This is really the only bad card in the whole deck to come off. Now I'm going to check call. And if he checks again, I'll just bet the river for value. And now I have the nuts. So I'm just going to bet really small and hope that he wants to think that my bet is weak and he wants to raise it as a bluff or something. But this guy has shown himself to be straightforward and passive so far. So I don't expect him to do something like that. But there's not much I can do to get value once the guy has checked like 5 million times and a bunch of high cards have come. So, yeah. I should have checked the time so I know how long this video is. Maybe... Oh, there we go. I see it. 17 minutes. I'll probably just try, like, keep it under 30. Yeah, let's keep it... Let's keep it to 20. That would make sense. Keep these videos so they're not so long. There's not so much to digest. Make a couple of them. Okay, another limp in. We saw this was queen jack offsuit earlier. So something medium. We don't know if he'll limp in with terrible hands. He has... This is kind of close between betting and checking. On the one hand, medium cards are all over this board. On the other hand, I definitely am not looking to fold. He checked back. So most of the time, my hand is good. He'd mostly bet a hand. I'm going to bet about 2/3 pot here. He would usually bet a 7. And he would usually bet a 7 or a 6. So I have a 6 with the best kicker. I can probably bet this for value. It's pretty close. I'm going to go ahead and do it. When you bet rivers, you bet big. Well, that's not necessarily true. I could do either. In fact, I probably should have bet small. But I thought there was a good chance the combination of things that he did there would give him exactly a 6. And I beat most of the 6s. You know? If he limped in with like 9-6 suited, 10-6 suited. If he has ace-6 or... Okay, this is a fold. I'll play around to the... I guess I'll just keep it to 20 minutes and then I'll start a new one. Let's see what this guy's got here. Oh. So he check called the flop, and then the guy checked back. Okay, so he just check called with like 2 backdoor draws. A backdoor gut shot, backdoor spades, and it's very typical that players will play that way. Maybe not quite that loose, but it should give you some confidence to know just when they call your bet doesn't mean they necessarily have something. So if you were bluffing, it's okay to go ahead and bluff the turn as well. I'll open this hand on the button, but I wouldn't do it. I would fold if anybody else raised. So great result. We stole $1.50. Okay, I'm gonna switch over unless this is a big hand, and then okay. So I'm gonna end this video here and start a new one.